I'm Cody Landels. In less than 4 years, I built and scaled a roofing company from the ground up to over $20 million in annual revenue, and then successfully sold it. Now I'm on a mission to share what I've learned while documenting my journey to scale Reimagine Roofing to $100 million in annual revenue. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to scale a service business or a sales rep ready to sharpen your skills, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Today, we're talking about how to systemize the sales process to supercharge your close percentages. Whether you're a sales rep or an owner, this will be highly applicable. So here's the framework just that you guys will hear me talk about nonstop. And hopefully by the time you're done listening to me enough times, you'll be able to repeat this in your sleep. So it is the closer formula. C is for clarify the problem. L is for label the problem. O is for overview the pain. S is for sell the dream. E is to explain away objections. And R is to reinforce. This is what your sales process should be doing, okay? And so we went over the intake call last time, and the highly scripted intake call that we used to increase our close percentages by 7%. And I would say one of the top secret sauces that we use at our company. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that one from our last one, feel free to check that out. But that call itself follows this framework. And then in our larger sales process, it follows this framework. The intake call is the first part of our process. And then we go out and we do an inspection, unless somebody wants a 24-hour quote. But let's just assume the person wants an inspection because that's going to be most of your guys' sale process as well. So when we go out and do that inspection, we need to clarify the problem and then label the problem. Okay, now this is key to, I think, one of the most missed aspects of roofing sales. The majority of people think the problem is always the same. All right. So one of my sayings is that every roof should be the same on the sales process, but every solution should be unique. All right. So every sale should be the same, but every solution should be unique. And what I mean by that is every single homeowner we present to gets presented the top package, the most expensive one and the cheapest one. Every homeowner gets financing presented to them. Everybody gets the same thing, whether they're in a trailer park or a $10 million mansion. All right. But what we need to really listen for and start with is clarifying and labeling the problem, because the problem isn't always that I need a new roof. The problem may be, and it's not always that I need help with the adjuster. So right now we're doing a decent amount of work in Florida right now, and it's a different market down there than compared to Arizona, where in Arizona, the problem was people didn't even know insurance existed or that it was real. Because in Arizona, we never really get storms. A monsoon hits, it only damages 1,000 roofs. And so for them, our problem was that they didn't know the insurance process, or they didn't know it was real. They thought it was a scam. In Florida, the opposite's true. Everybody down there wants to get a lawyer day one. So if you go down there, or they get a public adjuster, if you go down there and you're trying to say, oh, I'll meet the insurance company out here and fight your claim, and they already have a public adjuster or a lawyer, they're going to think you're silly. They're going to, I already have that. I'm just confused. And when you confuse, you lose. So down there, what they're looking for, their problem, they might have already have somebody to fight the adjuster. So their problem is they need a good contractor, or they need a good photo report, or they need a fast tarp. So what we really want to make sure when we're talking to these homeowners is we clarify the problem. And the biggest mistake is thinking that the problem is that the homeowner needs a new roof. We may be able to get to that point, but a lot of times the first thing is, the problem is, I don't know if my roof is bad. And we go out there with the mindset that we need to convince them that they need a new roof, instead of just clarifying with evidence and let them come to that conclusion. Or we go out there thinking that we need to fight the insurance company, and they already have a check in hand. And then you go out there and say, I can supplement it, I can get more of this and that. And in their mind, all they want is someone to do a roof quickly. And they're going to pay out of pocket. They don't care if they got 15,000 and they could get 20. If your roof is 20,000, they're okay paying 5,000 because they want it done next week. So there's a lot of motivating factors that we really need to understand, and we really need to clarify, and then we need to label it, okay? And how we label a problem is using terms sounds, or if I'm hearing you correctly. All right. And now why this is important is because one, we need to do this multiple times. So when we initial intake call, we'll clarify their initial problem that they think they have. And then we may go do a photo report. Hey, I'm calling in. I just need a small repair. I got 10 blown off shingles, and I'm hoping to get them put back on. Maybe you guys can even reuse the ones that are in my yard. I collected them up for you. You guys think you could do that? Have those requests. And obviously you can't do that, but what we need to do is we need to go out there and clarify, is it an insurance claim? Is it a 20-year-old roof? Or is it a 3-year-old roof that they think is maybe 10 years old or 20 years old? So we have to clarify the problem, and then we have to label it. All right. Next, we're going to overview the pain. All right. We're going to overview, why have you not solved this yet? And this is especially powerful if they've already gotten 3 or 4 other quotes, especially if you're in a retail market or insurance. If they've met with 3 other roofers and they haven't signed a contingency agreement or a direction of pay or whatever else you may call it, why not? You know you have a problem, right? You need to get this solved. Something those 3 other people, they haven't checked a box. And so I really, if they've already had other people out, I'll talk about the other side in a second, but if they've already had other people out, let's overview the pain and let's ask the hard question. Mrs. Jones, you said I'm the 4th roofer out here. So you met with 3 others. Why didn't you decide to move forward with them? Why didn't you decide to trust them with this project? Especially if it's insurance, where price is going to stay the same. It's really, Mrs. Jones, you just have to choose between speed and quality. The price is going to be uniform as long as you go for replacement. So was their quality not up to par, or was it their speed? Which one did you not like? And then let them go. Johnny showed up an hour late, and then Steve, he was using this and didn't have this. They're going to tell you why they didn't decide to move forward. All right. They may say something. I called the 3 out and all their prices are really high. Okay. What does a price really high mean to you? They're all over 20,000. You look at your quotes and you're like, okay, I got all my quotes are over 20,000 too. You can have that conversation then prior to then when we show price. Say, okay, what makes you think that being over 20,000 is too expensive if you've already met with 3 other roofers that all have given you that same price? And it's really powerful to have a conversation about price if you're doing retail before you've shown price. All right. And so that's where we can overview the pain early in the sales process. That's the one portion of the pain we want to overview. And then the other portion is, again, asking, have you ever had a roof replaced? And that as we're overviewing the pain and asking those questions, we should be able to find what is important to them. What is their kind of driving force in this decision? And then that's when we then sell the dream. Or in Adam's SLAP formula, it's P, present to the scenario, right? Same idea. We need to identify what the pain is, and then we present to it. And this is where the active listening is so crucial, and why it's so crucial that as we're going through this process, that we're asking questions. Because when you ask questions, and if you have a set of questions that your team asks, then you always are going to ask those questions. That's easy. And you can actively listen for, whoa, of the 3 people, 2 of them did X, and she mentioned that. So that's probably really important to her. If she says, oh, Bob showed up late and Steve showed up late too, okay, she really values time. If Bob didn't offer financing and Steve told me that his interest rates were 15%, that means she really cares about financing. Whatever the scenario is, if we can ask the right questions, we typically can get what's important to them. And I would challenge you to think about your questions as leading them into what you're going to then present to, knowing what your values are. I wouldn't just ask, hey, what would you rather do, a virtual call or an in-person call? I would first ask, hey, if you're anything like me, you're probably pretty busy, right? But I know that's what I'm selling. And you have to understand what your value is, and then you shape those questions around what you guide that experience to. All right. And then and the other part of selling the dream is having those, I like to think of them as off ramps. When I think of a sales process, as what I tell my sales rep is, it's like they're bowling, and my sales process are the bumpers. They can bowl it down, they can go left, they can go right, they can zigzag, but I have bumpers up there. We're not going in the gutter. We're not going over to the next lane. We're going to go down here. You can bump as many times as you need to bump, but this is the pathway. Then with the questions, what I think about, those are like little off ramps that allow you to get outside the bumpers for 30 seconds, and then we come back to it. All right. And those little 30-second off ramps, your team should know. You should know, when I ask this question and they say this, here's what I'm going to present here's the little dream I'm going to sell. Here's the time that I helped Susan turn a partial into a full. Here's what, here at Reimagine Roofing, we're a member of RSRA. And so what that means is we're part of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance. So we do things a little bit differently. Let me tell you a little bit about that. Whatever it is, have those little ideas, those little 30-second ideas that you're going to lead into. And then put those ideas into a presentation. Whether it's you're a master elite, whether you're a platinum or a preferred, or you do this, or you've been in business 10 years, or whatever it is, then you're going to reinforce in your sales process that those value builds. You're going to sell the dream in that presentation the same way you would do it just verbally. So next we're going to come to the E. All right. E is going to be explain away objections. All right. 4 real objections that I think you can boil down every objection down to. The other thing to keep in mind is the difference between an objection versus a complaint. Okay. So let's talk about these two things. First, objections versus a complaint. Wow, the price of roofing is high. That's not necessarily an objection. That might just be a complaint. If they've gotten 3 other quotes and they're all $20,000 and they just say, hey, roof prices are high, we don't necessarily need to justify it. We don't need to show, oh, what if I got 500 off? We instantly go into trying to explain it when it might, yeah, inflation's been rough across the board. Roof prices definitely are high. It's unfortunate. We don't have to solve it. It's not our fault that every roof is $20,000 that they've looked at. So understanding complaints versus objections can be really big, because I notice, especially with sometimes younger sales reps that haven't had as many reps, everything that a customer says, we try to solve. And sometimes customers just want to complain, and we just need to be okay with that. We don't need to automatically jump head over heels to try to solve it. Really hear if it's an objection or a complaint. All right. Now, of the objections, 4 main ones: clarity / confusion, money, stall, or spouse. All right. So clarity / confusion. We didn't establish the need. If they need to consider whether they're going to do the repair or the replacement, or I'm not sure if I'm going to open up a claim or not. I'm not sure. Whatever that is, if you're not honest with yourself and honest with your company and honest with your customer, they'll see through it.